and I'm the Canadian Biz Geek. Today, it's story time again, and I got another one for you. Now, have you ever met anybody that's been married a whole bunch of times, 10 times, let's say, and every time you ask, hey, what happened to the last one? It just didn't work out. I'm having trouble finding the right person. Okay, well, have you ever thought maybe it's you? Now, for some people, that might be obvious. What I am talking about is the ability for people to look inside and see whether or not maybe they're the ones that are responsible for those challenges. So picture somebody that's married 10 times. So they meet somebody similar to an interview. They bring that person on board, similar to recruiting them, and they spend a certain amount of time with them. Call that their married life. But then something happens, obviously. At one point you liked them well enough that you wanted to bring them on, either marrying them or hiring them. But the other thing is that now you're at a point where maybe there's some, trouble in paradise. Why is that? Now, if the issues are varied and there's no one reason, that can make it a little bit harder to troubleshoot. But I personally have been in a number of situations where a business goes through people very, very quickly. In fact, I worked for a place a while ago who said, and I'm still mortified to this day to even imagine somebody believing that this is a sound policy. Well, there's lots of people out there, so you ride them hard, you get what you can get out of them. If they give you 6 months, you send them on their way. No, absolutely not. And yet there's people out there that consider that wisdom. So when you go into a store or a restaurant and it's an ever-changing parade of faces, that doesn't look good to your customers. So you get into the situation where, okay, these people are being ground down, and I understand that that'd be a reason for them to leave. But what if people are quitting on you all the time? So you're not grinding them down. Maybe you think you're providing them a great workplace. Well, I can tell you another bit of personal experience. That is when I first learned to be a multi-unit manager, when I first learned to manage managers, and that's a very different thing than managing staff. Managing a manager is like saying, I need you to drive the car to point A to point B. You don't tell that manager what roads to take, what speed to drive, anything. You hired that person to be a manager. Trust that manager to get from point A to point B. Your only wish, really, from this individual is that they end up at point B. Well, when I first started as a manager of managers, as district manager, I made that fatal error. I spent too much time trying to explain and trying to show and trying to make the manager do it my way that, not surprisingly, within a couple of weeks, they quit. I was blown away. I thought I hired a great person. Why did they leave? I thought we were getting along great. I was micromanaging my manager. I wasn't letting my manager be the person that I hired them to be. And I realized that very quickly. And ever since then, I've actually had staff say to me, are you not bothered by this? And I'm like, of course I'm bothered by this. But we're going to get through it. We're going to develop a plan. We're going to follow this up, and we're going to make it happen. And I'm empowering you to take responsibility for that. This individual had just come from somebody that basically laid it all out and dictated it to them. And I'd like to say for them it was a breath of fresh air. So going back to the person that's been married a whole bunch of times, so you find yourself in the business and you're recruiting again? Why am I recruiting? Did we just hire somebody? You have to look, just like other people have, just like I have, you have to look at what you're doing. If you have staff that are constantly leaving you, but you're not maybe doing anything deliberate, you're not being mean, you're not yelling, there's no abuse, you really have to ask yourself, what am I doing? And more often than not, you're not utilizing that individual. You're not making them feel successful. You are not giving them the satisfaction of coming into work and doing what you darn well hired them to do. And so if you're a business that has a revolving door of people that is constantly leaving you, you have to take stock. You have to ask yourself, is it something I'm doing? And be ready for feedback that you might not like. You might not enjoy being told that the way you're doing things isn't maybe necessarily a good way to keep people. But if we're going to be successful and we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have to be willing to let go and let these managers and let these staff members do what they are there to do. Because when you try to over dictate and micromanage and smother those individuals, you're never going to get from them what you're hoping to get. You're treating them like staff. So if you really want to keep people around, tell them that they're doing a good job. Sometimes it stinks because you might not, in your perspective, feel like that person's doing a good job. But if you see the passion, if you see them trying, if you see their numbers and their needle moving into the positive direction, tell them they're doing a good job. Like I say frequently, people soar when there's wind under their wings. And when you tell somebody they're doing a great job, they leave with that sense that they can take on the whole empire themselves. And you want people to feel like that. So even sometimes if you have to tell somebody something positive to keep them going up that road, to keep them going down that path, do it. There's nothing wrong with telling somebody they're doing a good job. Telling them they're doing an awful job and never giving them either constructive guidance or feedback is not the solution. And you're only ever going to find yourself in a position where you are constantly alone and constantly doing it by yourself. And just like the guy that's been married 10 times, nobody wants to 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road still be looking for that one. Build the relationship, maintain the relationship, learn how to give that person back what you want from them. And with that, I'm Jason, and I'm the Canadian Biz Geek. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell for more pearls of wisdom, and have a great day.